Hi everyone, it's Mary Satoli from the Follow Your Bliss Foundation. I almost forgot where I was from. Having so much fun today, I can't remember where I am. Anyway, today I want to talk about some things that are going on that we're dealing with right now that I know a lot of you been through it. Some of you are probably aware of it because it's happening to so many other people in some of the support groups and stuff online. And that is the desperation that comes with not being able to care for yourself while you're going through withdrawal. And because I went through this myself, I'm single, I don't have any family that is very supportive. They didn't understand. A lot of my friends were good, but there were certain points with my health issues that before we really knew that it was the benzos causing a lot of it, I ended up homeless and penniless and without a job. Somebody who has, according to the rules, done a lot of things right. I went to college. I had a couple small businesses. I've won awards for my music. I am an accomplished musician. I've done a lot of things in my life, and a lot of the people that this is happening to are professionals just like me, engineers, people working on their master's degrees and dissertations. I had a woman, I think I mentioned in one of my earlier ones, that was flying all the way from Boston to Hawaii, just flipped out after coming off lorazepam too quickly. I have another fella, and I think this is what kind of all of my people that I work with and do work with are kind of the people that inspire what I talk about, because I think they're just one of many, many people that this is happening to. And they don't know how to take care of themselves. They shouldn't be working. If they are, they're barely functioning, or they've lost their jobs. They have no money. This is not something that is supposed to happen in America, folks. I grew up with Leave It to Beaver, you know. I mean, probably a lot of you out there did too. And, you know, Ward and June just wouldn't do this to their family. I'm sorry, but when did we get to the point that we became a nation of skeptical, money motivated? I have a hard time because I've been through it, and I was on the streets. I literally, when I had my parasite infection after my head injury, I didn't know it was from the benzos at that point. So I was seeking advice from anybody and everyone, and I know a lot of you been from, you know, they do the doctor, another doctor, the tests that never result in anything. And I know of other people who've had these parasite issues that have been on these medications, and my belief is it downregulates your immune system, hormone system, everything. And because I know I had gone to Costa Rica, but I was with 3 or 4 other friends. We were living in the same condo, we were eating the same food, and nobody else got sick. And I think I've shared this with you, but these people that call me that are, this one guy, he's like, I don't want to give up, but I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And if it comes down to me being homeless, I don't know what I'm going to do, because he said, I have had suicidal thoughts. So how do we help these people? And you know, the last thing you want to hear, and I know this, when you're on the streets and you're just trying to take care of basic survival things like shelter and food, the last thing you want to hear is, this guy's come off 3 medications, cold turkey off a benzo 2-3 years ago, and then off gabapentin and another psych med. I can't remember which one, but he's off everything 2 months now, and he's just completely wacko. He doesn't want to go back to taking anything, which I'm encouraging him not to do, because he's now in the mode where he's got a couple months behind him with no medication in his system, so his body is probably trying to heal. But when you're under that much stress, it is really difficult to heal. And I know, because I've had a pretty stressful ride with this whole thing myself. And it wasn't until my friends finally helped me out getting a place that was quiet where I could heal and I could cook and eat healthy things and nurture myself so I could get better. And as a result, now I'm able to help other people. So it's like we have to figure out a way to pay this forward. We have to figure out a way to help these people heal, because this is going to be a huge percentage. In fact, I already know it's a huge percentage. I have another friend who works for the Phoenix Head Start program, who is she's a counselor, social worker for Head Start, and she said that every morning that they go to their government building, which is next to DES, there are bodies sleeping on the street out in front of DES, and they are homeless veterans who are probably have PTSD, that are on benzos or antidepressants of some sort, that cannot function to work, that are looking for just meager handouts, because that's all you get is maybe $100 in food stamps and maybe a disability check of several hundred to a couple $1,000s. Most people don't get a couple thousand, so it's not enough to even put a roof over your head. I know I didn't. At the time I went on, I was only getting about $500 a month, which, you can't live on $500 a month. Not any time soon or today. I mean, it's like that barely covers even a crappy place to live. And so the people making these laws are on disconnect, that haven't been through any of this stuff. And I think I've written several things in my blogs about a lot of this stuff. And if you haven't checked them out, you can go to our Follow Your Bliss Foundation website and check out the blogs I've written on disability and homelessness and the drugs and what they're doing. So these veterans, and are giving up, and we don't have any, I think, concrete statistics for how many people have committed suicide because of withdrawal, because they got so desperate, like this guy that I'm talking to, of not wanting to give up. But it's like, where else are they going to go? Their family doesn't get it. They don't have a spouse. They don't have any kids to take care of them, like me. And there were many times that I'm thinking, holy shit, I can't work to take care of myself, when I've always been self-supporting and very self-reliant. I never had to ask people for help. So you feel like a failure on top of being sick, which is not a good combination. So one of the things that I eventually would like to do, of course, it's not helping the people right now, and it didn't help me when I was homeless. I was in California at the time, and I'm kind of backtracking a little bit, because I'm kind of telling you how I got my first nonprofit started and why, and what precipitated that movement and how it's gotten me to where I'm at now. But I had trusted a family member, and he ended up renting my room out from underneath me, and I ended up out on the streets. And I found out pretty quick that there are no services for single women who have not been abused, who do not have children, or are not considered a drug addict by their standards. In other words, alcohol, street drugs, but not legal drugs. So I was in a really desperate spot. I had been in this downtown shelter, and there was a lot of people that had just gotten released from jail, that had been on narcotics and different street drugs. It was a pretty scary place, because it was like an open bed, co-ed, first come, first serve. I was so sick I couldn't stand in line, so I was begging them to let me stay in the shelter, because it was so hot. It was summertime, and I couldn't function. I sat there, and I remember thinking to myself, I thought it was all the infection, because my stomach was all screwed up. But as I think back on it now, it was the drugs. It was the drugs. And I think at how different I feel being off everything, and then I look at what happened, and I literally had to go down to the what do you call it? It wasn't DES, but it was a mental health facility in California, and I had to threaten to throw myself into an oncoming bus to get into a mental health shelter, because there were beds available at the women's shelter, but they wouldn't take me, because they lose their funding if you don't meet criteria. In other words, I wasn't abused, I didn't have kids, I wasn't a street drug addict. So, but at the time, I had no idea about these benzos, what they did, and that they were causing all my problems, tolerance withdrawal issues, making me very sick. No one tells you. And so you're just like flipping out thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I was rail thin. I had lost like, I don't know how much weight, probably about 20 pounds. And I wasn't big to begin with. You know, I'm like 5 feet, and I think my heaviest weight, well, when I was a teenager, I was really overweight, but I'm talking adult weight's only been like 115, 16 pounds. Mostly I've been under 110, but I was rail thin, and I had to have a special soft food diet, yogurt, bananas, rice, blended smoothies. I could not keep any solid food down. I was so sick with it. So you are caught in this dilemma of desperation, and that is what these people are going through, exactly what I went through. And I want to help. I want to help them. I've taken in one homeless woman when I had my other nonprofit. After I got back on my feet after the first downfall from the benzos, not knowing that's what it was from, and I healed from the infection, I started a nonprofit organization for women's health. We worked a lot with midlife women going through menopause and bioidentical hormones. So I have a huge background with doctors and pharmacists and things that I worked with that were on my staff. And I had a woman that came to us. We thought she had cancer at first, and she had lost a big chunk of her hair. She had a really bad infection. She was down to like 80 pounds, really in rough shape. She had to quit her job so that she could qualify to get state medical care to figure out what was wrong with her, which is like, I don't know. I've got my own opinion about this medical system now after what I've been through. So we helped her with diet, and she slept on, at the time I had a kids entertainment company, and so I had a costume room for just about every costume character you would, Scooby-Doo, Disney princesses, SpongeBob. Barbara, you probably know I'm a big SpongeBob fan from my icons on Facebook. So I had tons of the costumes, and I cleaned out the floor, and I made a place for her to put a sleeping bag, and she stayed in my extra room for like a year. I didn't have the heart, after what I had been through, to let her go homeless and live out of her car when she was sick. I just said, there's no way you're going to do this. So I put her up for a year. And, you know, people, all my friends and stuff were saying, oh, you know what, you need to take care of yourself. You've been through too much stuff. And I'm like, well, yeah, but, you know, I mean, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? Because I get it more than anybody else. And so I don't want to be one of these people that refuses to help somebody else because I'm skeptical and I'm jaded, and I just want to be angry and hostile at the world. If we keep putting that energy out, that's exactly what we're going to get back in this world. So we have to put out kindness. And yeah, you have to be discerning, but she seemed like a relatively normal person. She had a good job, she was hardworking, and as it turned out, it came back to me in spades, because in some way she ended up helping me with my panic problems and heart palpitations and everything that I was going through at the time that she lived with me. And she got up in the middle of the night and put ice packs on my neck and helped me get donations. I mean, we did in our second year like $250,000 in in-kind donations. And if you don't know what that is, it's like hard donations, like organic food for the women that couldn't afford it, and vitamins. General Strength Co-op here went out of business, and they found out about us through her and gave us like thousands of dollars worth of good vitamins and herbs that they had no use for, because they had to close the store down. So she rocked. She's a rock star. She got us all this stuff to help these women, and she gave back because I helped her, and we got her weight up. When she came to us, she wasn't having periods, and she was in her 30s. We put her on bioidentical hormones. We kick-started her periods. She was having regular cycles within 3 months because she was being nurtured. Hello. What don't we understand about nurturing in this country? It's just every man for himself. And if we don't embrace that part of our humanness, that we need love and we need support and we need someone to talk to when we're going through this stuff. These people that are into all this and I'm not opposed to the new thought thing. I do a lot of it myself to keep myself in a positive frame of mind. But there's a point where it goes overboard, where we think that if we listen to any of it, that we're going to take on that negative energy. And you have to just learn how to balance it out, because we're going to get a certain amount of good and bad in every life. And you have to figure out where to draw the line. I mean, yeah, if it's somebody that's really codependent and needy, and even then you should try to help them with getting some kind of support, because they still need services. They still need something. And there just isn't anything for these people. There wasn't anything for me except a mental health shelter that they ended up putting me in after I threatened to throw myself into an oncoming bus. I went in this place and there was people with fetal alcohol syndrome. I mean, I've been in some hardcore places, guys, with all this stuff. And if you have family or a spouse or friend that is giving you a place to live, you're one step ahead of some of us that don't have that. I literally freaked out when I got in there. There were just, I mean, schizophrenics. The first night I was there, I've got panic disorder, right? And some schizophrenic woman walked out the fire exit door and set off the alarm, and I'm just like thinking, you know, I didn't know where I was. I was barely sleeping, and it was just a nutty place, you know. The staff was really nice, and thank God they got me off the street, and I had a great counselor there, and they helped me expedite my disability check, because I didn't even have disability. It was right after my head injury, and I was just cuckoo. I had post-concussive syndrome. I couldn't even walk out of a store without knowing how I got to the store. I didn't know where my car was. I didn't know how I got there. It was freaky. So I ended up staying there for a month, and then a very dear friend of mine, the friend I wrote the song for that the video just came out, thank you very much, that is online right now, he took me in. He had an old trailer house, and he put me in a spare bedroom and didn't charge me anything until I could get back on my feet. And slowly I did, and I started put this nonprofit together because I had a car accident after that, had to have major neck surgery, and I laid on my couch and made phone calls. It was all I could do. I set up 501c3, and from there, what I wanted to do, and I think that is kind of my lot in life is nonprofit work, because I eventually, because of the market crashing, had to close the doors to my for-profit business and my nonprofit business, because I had lost everything because of the market crash. So I ended up selling the nonprofit to another organization in Tucson, and then I was in survival mode myself. I was scraping to get students teaching music to keep a roof over my head, and I slept on a friend's dining room floor because I lost the apartment that I'd worked so hard to get. Life is brutal sometimes, and you know, when you're on your own, which we've become a very every man for himself society, instead of, you know, just looking at a situation. Since I had that homeless experience, I see homeless people on the streets now, and I think, rather than judge, I think what got them, I wonder what got them there, because I know there's a story behind each one of them that may not be what you think it is. And if you're judging them for, I mean, at least there was one guy on the freeway that I have to give credit for, because he was honest. He had he had a sign that said, why lie, I'll work for beer, or something like that. I don't know, but he was honest about it. So, you know, there are a certain amount of those people out there that are probably, and that they make it hard for those of us who are really sick and genuinely need help. And that's where you have to use your discernment skills, is you have to say, like in my case, that woman turned out to be a blessing in my life, because she gave more to that nonprofit than in some ways I did, because she just put her heart and soul in. And they ended up, I have this very cool thing. I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but I got to share this. 1 minute, I'll be right back. I have to share this because it's one of my prides in life. I always thought that winning a Grammy would be the coolest thing, but this actually turned out on my 50th birthday. I had the women of the shelter give me this plaque for my 50th birthday, and it says, Mary Satoli, in grateful appreciation for your dedication and commitment to all the women for the Shelter for Synchronistic Healing, happy 50th birthday. And it's a gold-plated plaque, and I cried. I mean, I cried. But that's what doing things for other people does. It lifts you up and it gives you empowerment, and it gives you tenfold back what you gave. And we need to be a more compassionate society. We just have turned into this greedy money making, and this is the whole precipice for our healthcare system right now. Money, profit, drugs. And like I said, these people that are coming to me are all professionals. They've got good jobs. They've worked hard. They're not, and some of them, that's why they're where they're at, is because they are hardworking, and to some degree, like me, overachievers, type A's, that give to the point that they don't know that balance is what I had to learn, of how to find time to take care of myself and nurture myself and still be able to do things for other people, because I love to help people. And so this was a magical moment. I had actually thrown a Christmas party for all the women and my staff to thank them, and I had the food donated, and I got a room donated to have it in, and decorations that I did, and the woman that was living with me, she became my assistant, and she helped me decorate and get the food and set it up, and we became very close. So she's a good Joe. And update where she's at now. She got healthy. She went back to medical billing school, got her degree, got a good job, found a boyfriend. She's living happily ever after down south Phoenix. And it's a really, really good thing to help somebody get their life back. It's really a good thing when you can do that. And that's why I put this organization together, and why I'm doing what I'm doing with all my YouTube videos and my website, because now that I've had some experience with this stuff, I can say for a fact that everybody has points in their life where they're down on their luck. I mean, we all go through hard times, and these benzos, as you know, create a lot of hardship in our lives. When your health goes to hell, you have nothing else. You have nothing else. You can't work, you can't have a social life, you can't get to the grocery store, you take the simplest things for granted. So I'm kind of on a tirade today, as sometimes I do, but I want to wake people up. We need to change how we're doing things in this world, and we wouldn't need all these drugs if we had my goal. I meant to tell you, I sidebar again, but my goal is, what I started out with, the first one is I wanted to create a shelter where people could heal. And I think that people coming off these drugs need probably more nurturing. You're really needy, as you all know, and you probably need way more nurturing than the average person that has a health problem, because not only are you suffering physically, but the mental things are just excruciating. And there isn't anything really but time, so it's an expensive outlay to make happen. But this is one of my goals, is I want to make a center available for people who are recovering to come and share, and that people that are in the taper process can stay. If they can't work and they are financially in need, they can pay it forward when they get well, because that's what I've always done. And I just can't think of a better thing to do, and we need it. We really need it bad. And I think that this last few weeks of talking to, more than one single person, just several that are, and like I said, I had suicidal thoughts. I was ready to give up when I was sitting in that homeless shelter. I'm thinking, I thought I did everything right, and I still ended up here. I still ended up in this place, and how did this happen? And you start kind of examining your life and thinking, oh, I don't know. So I'm gonna cut it off at that, because I have carrot cake in the oven. Barbara, I'll share you my recipe with you. I know you like to eat. And this is yummy, healthy, good nuts and paleo coconut flour carrot cake with yummy cream cheese frosting. I know that's probably cheating, but I do that from time to time, because this dieting stuff is hell. Plain and utter hell. So please become a member of our Patreon channel. I know I keep asking, but it's a great program. We're really looking to make a lot of change with this. It's badly needed. And share our videos and comments. I'd love to hear feedback. I see people that are asking me questions all the time, either spouses of someone that's going through it or someone that's going through it themselves, that they just don't know how to get through this tunnel, and it's a dark place to be. So anyway, I hope this will be food for thought for many of you today, and I guess we'll see you next week, and I'm going to go enjoy my carrot cake. So this is Mary Satoli, and I'm signing out for now. Thanks. Bye.